Here's Guy Wehman, Ben Brunson, and Frank Vernuccio inside the news.
Welcome back to our last segment of Inside the News. Frank Vernuccio, Ben Brunson at the bottom middle, myself, Guy Wehman. This is where we put a bow on the program. Welcome back. And one more time, we're going to say that name, Aaron Danielson. We don't want you to forget that. And Frank, just one final thought before we go in the hot buttons. Aaron Danielson, and we need to keep reminding people of that name.
That's right. And the withdrawal of the police by left-wing mayors and governors is leading inevitably to armed clashes between civilians. The rhetoric of the Democratic Party about Trump, about people who support Trump, the support of beating up people simply for wearing a MAGA hat is coming to its logical conclusion, and that is a widespread scale of violence throughout the United States. These politicians like Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, are reaping the whirlwind of the terrible seeds that they have sown. They are despicable as politicians, and they have done immeasurable harm to the United States.
Okay, Ben, you wanted to mention something about what's going on in Georgia and Atlanta.
Yeah, Paul Howard, the district attorney who politicized the shooting of Rayshard Brooks by Officer Garrett Rolfe and charged him with murder charges before any investigation was done, just lost in a landslide in his attempt to be reelected into office. His opponent got 75% of the votes. She was an assistant DA who essentially said, look, I will depoliticize this. I will look at the facts, study the investigation, and proceed based on the facts instead of the politics of the issue. To me, that is a precursor of, I think, exactly what's going to happen nationally on November 3rd.
Okay, quickly, Frank, the Hoover Report.
Well, the Hoover Institute has researched the extent of China's influence within the United States and its warning of profound dangers. They talk about Confucius Institutes, which essentially use a great deal of money, both to the university administrations and to individual professors, to make sure that China's line is what is being taught to students. They talk, as Ben outlined perfectly, the influence of money on organizations such as the NBA, which now kowtow to China's every demand. And they talked about even the influence of Chinese money on Hollywood, where even the entertainment movies that you see are influenced by China's big bucks.
Okay, Ben, hot button topic, yours.
Well, an unusual one for me, Chadwick Boseman, the actor who became famous, rocketed to superstardom as the Black Panther. I didn't know him. I never met him. I had no idea he had suffered from cancer till his death was announced earlier this past week from colon cancer. But I have to say, he always struck me as a pretty humble, down-to-earth guy for someone who became so famous. And I think I understand why now. So God bless him and his family. And I feel for all cancer survivors and all cancer victims in this country.
All right, Frank, your hot button topic on this day.
The story isn't carried in much of the media, but the world as we know it is changing dramatically due to the fact that both Russia and China have successfully tested and repeatedly tested anti-satellite weapons. More than any other nation on Earth, the United States is heavily dependent on space assets for its protection. With the testing in violation of a number of treaties of Russian and Chinese ASATs, anti-satellite weapons, the military security of the United States has been threatened in an existential way. And it's not just military. If the Chinese and the Russians can hold American satellite assets hostage under the threat of destruction, then much of our civilian economy will be equally devastated. Everything from your GPS to data transfer and so forth now exist at the whim of China and Russia to allow them to continue to exist. It's a threat that has to be answered and answered forcefully.
All right, one final thought here. Let's put the battle of the first ladies, and I want to put Michelle Obama, and I want to put Melania Trump. And it's like Obama's saying, I did not get enough attention as first lady, and Trump's getting all of it. Kind of interesting, isn't it, Ben?
I think there's the contrast is quite significant. Melania Trump appreciates life in America. She came here. She's grateful to be an American. She's someone who grew up in Europe and understood what it's like to not be an American. And Michelle Obama, as wealthy and privileged as she is, just seems like a very angry woman to me.
15 seconds, Frank, your thoughts.
Michelle Obama is delusional at best. Every woman's magazine touted her for the past, 10, 12 years, had her on the cover. They've pretty much ignored Melania Trump. Again, Michelle Obama is just completely delusional.
Yeah, the media was all over that. Want to thank you so much for joining us this week on Inside the News. Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio. I know the other guys, they had a good time on the program. Frank, do you?
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to a fall where my Sundays are totally free because I won't be watching football.
Ben, how you doing there? Say goodbye.
Thank you, guys, and thank you to all our listeners.
All right, we'll catch you again next week. Stay safe over the week.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.